Hey, good day, everybody. This is Marcel Pursuit here with the Sports Inquirer, here with Crosby Huckabay from Georgia Tech softball. She has joined us today to speak with us. What about your last play, the Notre Dame series? Team was able to get a win in that contest with some competitive action. Just overall impressions of the team and where you think the Yellow Jackets are so far this year.
Yeah, so hitting wise, I think we're really good. This is probably the best team that I've been a part of, although our record doesn't really show for it. I think, we have, all the capabilities to win a lot of games this year. It's just a matter of putting it all together all at once because it's kind of like I think of it like a puzzle. So like we have all the pieces, it's just like fitting it together all at once. And hitting wise, I think we're great and we've done a lot of great things. Pitching wise, I think our staff is really good. I just think that it's all about putting it together at the same time, which we've kind of struggled with this year. But again, this is, in my opinion, for been here 5 years, it's the best team I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, and you reached a milestone with your 30th career home run in that series, in the seventh of the year overall. But what about just reaching that mark for you as a hitter, reaching that goal?
I didn't even know that like in the game. I don't really keep up with that stuff, but it's definitely awesome to know, after the fact. Not something to think about in game or in at bats, especially because whenever you try to hit a home run, you end up striking out. So I don't typically think about that stuff, but like after the fact, it's definitely cool to kind of see like where I started as a freshman. I don't think I had a single home run as a freshman, but just kind of like watching my progress throughout 5 years and like the kind of player that I am now compared to where I started from. It's really cool to see, and it's really cool to like reflect back on my years and be the oldest one on the team now and um, just kind of like see where I've ended up through 5 years. It's cool.
What about your development? You're hitting 371, team high, 7 home runs, 20 RBIs. Oh, what did you work on this offseason, just or even maybe what you're continuing to improve on this in the season to do so well at the plate as a hitter?
Well, typically I'm a production hitter. I like to think of myself as like I'll get the home runs, I'll get the RBIs, but the average will be down and probably like 250 type of hitter. In the off season, I just kind of worked on like contact, and because the powers for me, like I'm comfortable with my power and I know it's always going to be there, but kind of like contact has been an issue for me and like consistency. So in past years, my strikeouts will be up and my average will be down, but the production will be there. So like it's not an issue, but this offseason I kind of wanted to develop into a different type of player where I have the power, the production, but also have the consistency in at bats. And so I just worked on like two strike hitting and you know not having to do too much with the ball, especially off of good hitters. Like this past weekend, we faced with Notre Dame, we faced two really good pitchers, and the power's not going to be there as much as you would like, just because they're really good pitchers. Um, but it's just kind of like grinding through at bats and like understanding that a single is okay. You lead off an inning, you don't need a home run, you just need to get on base. And so I just worked on kind of like contact and consistency and not having to do too much with the ball all the time.
As you said, being a fifth-year senior and working with your fellow players, do you find yourself in that mentoring role or kind of a assistant coach kind of role, working with them and as far as the hitting approach and helping them out as they progress through the game and through the season?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny at first, like when I first came back, I felt really uncomfortable. And I was like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I'm not supposed to be playing with these freshmen because I didn't plan on taking a fifth year. And so it was like weird for me. And I spent the fall kind of like trying to figure out what my role was going to be because it was just like I didn't know them very well. And especially with Corona, we can't hang out as much as we typically would. And so I kind of took time over Christmas break to like reflect on what I did this fall. And in the fall, I just hadn't really like talked to, a lot of the freshmen or even the sophomores too. But when I came back, one of my main goals was to work on relationships and to kind of like, I kind of focused on like leaving an impact on the team, and not necessarily with like play, but with like, how I talk to people, how I treat people, am I like respectful, all that kind of stuff. And so what I've definitely seen over the past few weeks or few months, even since we've been in season, is like I've really focused on trying to be there for my teammates, whether they need help with, talking about things or, hitting stuff like approaches, mindsets, all that kind of stuff. And I think I've definitely developed into kind of like a mentor role, if you will. But yeah, I mean, I definitely want my teammates to lean on me. And I think being a fifth year and being the oldest one on the team definitely gives me that ability because I just have more experience and I've been here a long time. And, I want them to feel comfortable coming to me with anything that it is. And I think it's safe to say that they do.
Was that tough coming back for your fifth year? Because I'm assuming you had a 4-year plan and took care of your stuff on and off the field in that regard. But the pandemic happened and you got that extra year opportunity. Was it a tough decision to come back? And what's that? You've touched on it quite a bit, but being back for a fifth year is, I'm sure, quite different for you at Georgia Tech.
It's been the most different year of all. It's I just always think of it as like it's been so weird. And like it's been like I just feel so old. I feel so much older than everyone. Even though like the real seniors are only a year younger than me, I feel like I'm 35, which is good. It plays like to my favor. So
30,
I
because
mean,
you say 35 old, that's hilarious.
yeah.
So someone who's older than 35, that's funny. But go ahead.
Everyone calls me grandma, or they
Oh,
tell me
no.
this is my granny season. But I mean, I think it comes with a lot of perks, but it wasn't a hard decision to come back. It was pretty quick. It was pretty easy. Just because like last year got cut short, and like what I want to do in my life is like I want to go and coach after this. And I knew that I could never like live with myself and like go coach softball knowing that I gave up on an opportunity to like keep playing. So it was an easy decision to come back, but it was definitely difficult to like be comfortable with the team when I came back because I almost felt like I was intruding. It was a weird feeling, but I like none of my teammates made me feel like that. I was like putting that in my own head, um, and they were all like they were glad to have me back. At least that's what they told me. But it was definitely hard to like adjust, but it was an easy decision, and I'm glad I made it.
Well, you're very productive on the field and off the field. I'm sure that's not a problem, adjusting or being with the team. But what's it like working with Coach Morales then in that regard and interacting with her? She's a former player with the program, and I'm sure has a good perspective for you as far as being a player, but then maybe your future aspirations. What's it like coaching
Yeah,
with Coach
well,
Morales in general?
it's it's interesting being old, and I would probably consider her a young coach. I don't know exactly how old she is, but um, it's a nice dynamic because I'm a year older, I'm a year more mature, and I think we can work well together because of maturity. And so if she needs something done, she can come to me, and I can handle it, or I'm not gonna read into things, and I think it's like a maturity thing. So working with her is definitely easier being a year older.
Yeah. And what was that process like? We'll wrap this up very quickly. What was it like? You're from Chattanooga, from the, Tennessee. What was that recruitment process like for you coming down to 75 literally and attending Georgia Tech? What was that decision process like for you?
Back when I was getting recruited.
Yeah, back when you were being recruited, and just what do you like about Georgia Tech? And since you obviously have spent a lot of time there.
Well, it was a really easy decision. And there's a lot, feels like so long ago. I mean, I was like 16 years old, 17. But I do remember I went on like a visit to another school um, after I had gone on a visit to Georgia Tech. And I had decided that I was going to Georgia Tech when I was at the other school
Hmm.
because I was like, this doesn't feel right. I was on this other campus and I was like, this isn't like Georgia Tech. And so then I came back to Georgia Tech for another visit and I was like, it just like, it's a weird feeling. It's like, that it's home. And so I made that decision really easily. It just it felt like home, and it's not far away from my house, and my parents come all the time, and I'm really close with my parents, so that was easy. That added to it. And then being here for 4 years, it's just like the environment at Georgia Tech is like just a really good environment that breeds success in any aspect, whether that's in the classroom, whether that's with the athletic department. They breed you to have success on the field. But then a really big thing about Georgia Tech, which I love, is that they breed you for success after you're done at Georgia Tech. So they set you up in a really great way to succeed like later in life, which I think is really valuable.
Sure. And then lastly, you were supposed to play North Carolina this weekend, but there was a postponement of that series. So then you play Syracuse the following weekend, but you have a weekend off. The team's played a lot of games this year, especially the games in 3 day series in conference play. How do you plan to spend this weekend? Will you try to get some hitting and fielding? Do you just not want to see a softball field for a few days? How do you prepare just kind of for this little bit of a bye week in essence or a break that you have in your schedule?
Yeah, probably not gonna take it off. Probably gonna be a lot of reps. Probably just gonna take it back to like mechanics and just like go back to the basics. Like whenever you have a weekend off or a day off, it's just a really good time to kind of reset, like hit the reset button, go back to square one and start working on the things that you need to work on. So whether it's hitting, pitching, fielding, whatever you feel like you had trouble with, just go back, touch on the basics, and kind of just like build from square one again, get some feel good swings in, build your confidence back up, kind of get your mind right for whoever you're playing next.
Well, Crosby, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.